Hello, hello, hello. Let's talk options. We have some big stuff coming, friends and family. Welcome to the stream. We are going to go through the SPY. We are going to map out what could be either the biggest move or the biggest resistance test and fail and shifting us into a bear market. We are going to discuss Tesla, look at some earnings, some options earnings plays. We are going to look at our two long swing options plays that are going to pay us. And we're going to look at a couple more in the broader markets. I hope you guys are ready to make some money as always. I'm really glad to be here. We had to move tonight because of Easter. I'm glad you guys could make it. Sorry for the switch up. I just wanted to make sure that everybody got in here and is going to be able to get that money. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead, slap that like button, hit the thumbs up, and make sure you hit that bell to subscribe. You need to get notified when we live trade. You want to be there. You don't want to miss it because you're going to make some money. And if you're not making money right now, then this is the best place for you to be because we are going to help you figure out exactly why that is. I'm going to pick one lucky person, and we're going to go through a loss, something that you struggled with. We're going to talk about the trade. We're going to nail it down and figure out exactly what went wrong so that you can make some money in the future. Because if you're not making money trading in this market, it's probably a very simple thing that we can fix, and we're going to fix it. That's what we're going to do. We're going to get you on the right track. You're going to be making some money. At the end of the day, that's all I care about is that you guys make some money, and I know I've done my job. So let's go ahead and slap that button. Let's get 20 likes, and then we'll get rolling. Once we hit 20, we got 13. We're so close. Yolanda, what's going on? I'm glad to see you back again. Dimitri, welcome, my friend. Steph PS, is it easier to do options on Webull or Robinhood? Personally, Steph, I use Robinhood for a lot of my options trades because I find it extremely easy to deal with. I'm all about ease and efficiency, and I think that honestly, for me, it's just so simple to use, and it's what a lot of you guys use. So I use it so that you can follow along and understand exactly what we're doing, and that it makes sense. But Webull, I would say, is a better trading platform overall. But as far as trading options go, definitely just stick with Robinhood if you're new because it's very, very simple to use. So let's go see how close are we. Got 15. I need 5 more. 5 more of you lovely people. Just slap that thumbs up and we'll get rolling. We'll start dialing into these trades. The S&P is at a very critical point where it's up or down from here. We're going to map out those trades so you guys know exactly how to trade it and exactly how to make some money trading options. Hit that like button. We need 5. There we go. We got 1 more. Thank you. I love you dearly. Let's get 4 more. Let's just get 4 more. If you haven't, there we go. We're at 18. We're so damn close. Let's get this. Come on. 2 more. 2 more, you lovely people. If you clicked it once, don't click it again. Don't make that mistake. 2 more. We're rolling. 2 more and rolling. Can I get a 2? Can I get 1 more? Can I get 1 more? Thumbs up. Click that thumbs up. Like this video. If you want, share it with your friends. We appreciate you doing that. We do it for free because we want you to win. Master, thank you for doing it 3 times. So just so you know, it goes away after you do it once, but I love you anyway. We just need 1 more. Just slap that thumbs up and we get rolling. You start making money trading some options. It's right there waiting for you. It's right there. We go. Now we're off to the races. Quick break from our commercial sponsor. No, I'm just kidding. I would love to be sponsored by them. Get some free sparkling. So let's get into it. So we're going to make this chart a little bit bigger so you guys can see it. I want to be quick and efficient today so that we can nail down these trades, get you set up to make some money and be on with our way. This is Robinhood's very nice. I agree with Dimitri. I also use both. I think Webull's a better trading platform. Board says I use Robinhood for options, Webull for long stocks, so I don't look at it. I get that. Glad you're here, my friend. Welcome. Let's get you some of that bread. Let's make you some of that money. You know what I'm saying? And as always, check the bottom if you're new and you haven't met us before. We have tons of free trading education and resources available to you at all times. The link is scrolling across the bottom. Make sure to get it while it's hot. So let's get into it. If you are new, hit us in this chat. Let us know that you're new. We're going to be giving away some free membership to our trading system so that you can have an even easier time of making some money. If you are with us for a while, just drop the Discord username so I can get to know who's here and who's not. I love seeing new people in here. If you're new, just type new in the chat just so that you can let us know and we can make sure to give you love and attention that you so dearly deserve. Let's get into it. So we got the SPY up here. We've mapped this out every week, and we have absolutely nailed these trades week over week over week. And before we get into it, let's see your predictions. Bull or bear on the SPY? Hit the comments. Bull or bear? Which is it going to be? I want to know what you guys think. I want to see what you're thinking about, how you like it, how you love it. Let's see. Bull or bear? Type it in the chat. Do you think we're going up this week, or do you think we're coming down? I'm looking at the price action here, and I think this is a very interesting point in time for all of us trading SPY options here. Neutral. Doctor says bull. Board says neutral. Lisa, bull. Tagak, bull. Come on, it's 23 of you. What else do you think? Let's see who's right and who's wrong. Do we have more bulls or more bears? There we go. Slap it in there. Brandon, bull. Okie, bull. Morton, bull. Beautiful, beautiful. Everybody's bullish, I guess, this week, except for the doc. No, the doctor said bull. Who said neutral? Somebody said neutral. There it is. Steph says bear. We need one. You always need one bear in the club. Absolutely. FOMC coming up. As always, you guys know my method. You know my strategy. I do not like trading the unknown. I do not like putting my delightfully loving capital at risk when I don't have to, especially when I'm not confident in the direction. And we are going to discuss all of that starting now. So if we dial in here, we look at the S&P on the daily chart. Very interesting price action here. We had a nice dip. We traded this down. We found support 378, 380. We came back up. Remember, we have our exponential 200-day moving average at about 396. That is a very critical point that we have to stay above if any of this bullish price action is going to occur. If we are below that price point, we're headed back down to 380, and we're going to trade puts and make a killing. So we discussed last week that we were sitting against a pretty critical resistance here right at about 409, and we wanted to see that breakout over 409 before we could start trading the upside from there. And if we hit 409, I think 415 is on the table. 417, I get. No, yeah, but 415 to be safe. So looking at this a little more closely, let's spread this out a little bit so we can see. We had a pretty decent day today, holding at support at about 406. Remember, we talked about that last week, that this 8-day EMA is a pretty functional and critical support for this to hold. If it holds that, then we have a pretty good idea that we are going to either stay neutral or go up, and it did hold, which is very important here. However, if we look since about 322, so give it about 2 weeks, we have a pretty significant resistance right here. Look at this blue line right here. I'm going to make it a little bigger so it's easier to see. We have a nice little trend line here that we have traded as resistance and then found support on and then trade as resistance again. So that is our upcoming headwind that we need to be aware of and that we need to trade lightly so that we don't get beat on the next trade. I think tomorrow we are going to see a pretty decent day. We've got RSI holding up here. I don't mind that. And if we look price over price, day over day, RSI is holding up significantly above where it was back in February, even though we had price a little bit higher at about 413. That is a good sign. Another good sign that we were looking at and we discussed the last couple of weeks, this yellow line down here is the 9-day RSI. The blue line is the 14-day. We want to see the shorter term RSI on top of the longer term. So shorter term RSI needs to be above the longer term RSI. Why does that matter? Because it tells us that our trend strength in the near term is strong, and it gives us a better indication of where we're going. When you see this crossover, that's a great bullish indicator to trade to the upside. Now, this was a risky trade because you were trading up against the EMA, but it panned out and it pushed up. So the question is, are we consolidating and setting up here for a bigger move to the upside on the SPY? And I think as of right now, it's very possible we do see that. What I like the most about this chart right now, this is something to map out. Board, you could start it from this point. This is what I like the most about this right now. We have a nice little inverted head and shoulders that played out quite well here, touching to a low of 345. I think this is the right shoulder we were waiting on when it touched down to 381, and now it's pushing back up. Here's our neckline. This can be a very, very simple and easy trade that any options trader can take because the setup is so clean that we have a critical point here that either it breaks above and we're bullish, or it gets bumped off the top of its head and knocked back down and we're bearish. We like those scenarios where there is an either or happening at the same time. Do you guys understand why that's so important? We want to take trades at pivot points because we have max return and minimum risk. Why is that? If we're taking the trade at the pivot point, we know that we can set a pretty tight stop loss that will be adequate enough to kill the position if it doesn't go the right way. But more importantly, so we are either at the bottom of a bull run or the top of a bear run, which is it's equally as good, right? Bear run going down, which means you want to be buying at the top. Bull run going up, which means you want to be buying at the bottom. This is important because it creates an opportunity for us to take these very, very low risk trades that choose direction quickly, which means we're not wasting time waiting for it to pan out, which you do at times, but this is not one of those times that we really have to worry about. So as we can see here, that used to be up there for our long-term resistance. This is our neckline right here. We're going to make this one dotted so that you guys know exactly what we're talking about here. This is our neckline. Okay, we're going to draw this inverted head and shoulders because I think it's worth drawing here, right? We got shoulder, head, shoulder. Ascending, which is good within the trend channel. So we got the bottom of the trend channel here, the top of the trend channel here. It's trading in this range quite nicely, except for this big move right here. But we want it to trade within the range because then we can map out the highs and lows and understand exactly how far out of the realm it's going to go. So I think that right here, this was our inflection point where it hit, or I guess some call it the springboard, right? Like this is the last move right here before we start to see upside. And it looks like we might be setting up for just that if we can trade over this resistance right here. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that just so that you guys can clearly see what I'm talking about. So do you guys see this dotted line right here? This is our neckline. We want to see this broken to the upside. Our next resistance is right here. This is our first, this is the first line that we want to be very mindful of because we're probably going to trade up against this resistance, call it 415 to 420. If we break above that, then we have a pretty decent runway to, I would say, 430. You guys have followed me on this stream. You know exactly what that 430 means. You know exactly what it means. That is our make or break. In my opinion, that is the make or break month over month point in which the SPY either continues up for a while and we go into price discovery and find new highs, or the SPY bumps against the ceiling and dumps back down. I think it's going to be the either or point of the year. I think it's going to be an incredible opportunity for us to make money. We bumped against 426 there. It was basically the bottom of the previous range. I really liked it, and I think that if we can break above there again, we could take a pretty decent long-term trade that's going to make us a lot of money as we head back up to 450, 470, and then 500 inevitably if it continues. So let's focus on the here and now because that's what matters and that's what we can trade. We have this consolidation happening here, although the bands are pretty wide and it's not very tight. That's okay because we have what looks to be an inverted head and shoulders forming. We have our neckline right here. I think that this could very easily pan out into a great setup. So how are we going to trade this? Well, in a bullish scenario, as we break out above this point right here, which we'll call about 410 and change. I want to put it right there, actually. As we break above this neckline here, we're going to be aiming for 415 to 420. So as this opens tomorrow, we are going to watch the price action to see if we head downward. If we head downward, I think realistically we're going to kind of bop around 405, 406 for a few days until we retest, or tomorrow we're going to see some strength. It's very possible. I feel like there is kind of a bullish undertone to this week. Today was a pretty decent day. Low volume, though. That's the only concern that I have. But overall, pretty decent price action, just low volume. It tested about the same range as it did yesterday, except it pushed a little bit higher and it didn't seem to go quite as low. That's a very positive sign. In a bullish trend, we want to see higher lows and higher highs simultaneously. That tells us that we are in continuation of that trend. And prices continuing to push up while the floor keeps climbing up and buyers aren't willing to go, or sellers aren't able to push as low as they once did. So tomorrow when this opens, we are going to be on close watch to see if we retest that 406, 407 again. We're going to go to the hourly chart. We're going to look at how the days panned out. It looks to me like we really probably bottomed out here 406.50. Okay, we didn't test the lows. Or we did actually, pretty much. Nope, just slightly above. We didn't test the lows from these previous days, right? So in this case, lower low, not good. That's why we didn't take any trades Friday. We look right here. We tested as low as 405.91. And then again, Today we came down to about 405 and change, just about testing that low. So what do we do in the midday? Well, we grabbed right off this. We bounced right here off the support. So we've identified a new range, right? Short term, we've got a nice little range here, and I think that this is a pretty adequate marker of that range. And it's also midway between this breakout, so I really like that. So we've identified that we have this range here, right? Price bounced, bulls came in, took over on low volume, but they took over. And what do we do? What do we do from here? Either this thing's going to push up to 411 in pre-market and open, or it's going to do what it did right here, which I think is the most likely scenario. We have almost the same price action back on the 31st. What do? We opened low. So we opened red. We came down low, tested 408.39. That's what I'm going to wait for. I think that's the most quality setup to take a bullish play here. Let's look. What EMA levels are you using? So I use the 8-day, 13-day, and then the 200. Those are the three. I'll put them right there, and I'll post them on here. So those are the EMAs that I'm using. For those of you that were interested, you can set that up quite easily. That's the length. It's 8 days, 13 days, 200 days. So let's check in. Is everybody following along? Drop in the chat. Just need a yes or a no. Is this making sense so far? Sí or no? Just want to make sure everybody's following along. Don't be shy now. Is this making sense to you? Just hit a yes or a no. Some of the comments are showing up on YouTube, but they're not showing up on stream. Yeah, there you go. They slap all at once. Okay. Good. So, what are we going to watch for tomorrow? Here's our scenario, in my opinion. Ooh. Yeah. So we're going to scoot this up. Because we don't really need that right now. Ooh, I like that. Yeah, I like that a lot. That would make sense. 412, 409, 409, 3 and 5. So more volatility to the downside, unless this is more like here. 408 would be midpoint. What I'm looking at right now is, so we had this breakout right here, right? And it pushed high as 412. Let's cut that in half. What would that look like? I think that would be right around 408. So can we yeah, and then we can absolutely validate that. Look at that. That was the support test right there. And then it hung around the same price there, became resistance here, resistance, then support, failed, support. There we go. So our marker, make sure you're adding this to your chart here, guys. That's the whole point here, is that you can add this so you can follow along. That's the whole point. So you guys know what the hell's going on. And if someone would be so kind, I saw someone spare change. What up, man? I saw you said a lot of catalysts this week. What else? What else do we have lined up other than FOMC? If you can go ahead and type that in the chat ski for me. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so that's our price right there. Okay, so go ahead and slap that on your chart. Call it 408.30, 408.40, 408 and change. Either way, I think we could easily see some sell-off tomorrow and then a bounce off support, at which point I think a swing to 411, possibly day trade if we see the same volatility, could make sense. I'm actually liking this a little bit here. 66 lower price, higher RSI. I think that we're going to mark that down as our bull scenario number one. Let's wait for there's two options here, really, in my opinion. I think that we either are going to come down to 408.88 or we're going to come down to 408.39. So pretty much anything we see in this range right here. So if you mark this box out, right, between this is about a 50-cent range. This will be the buy zone for long position calls. I think this would be our buy zone. And I think this is also our make or break zone. So if we cannot hold this zone right here and buyers can't step in and make sense of this, then we're going to go to the downside and we're going to trade. How to go even lower? Because if it comes down, it's coming down. Pretty significant movement when you really like sit back and look at this on the hourly. It's moved up quite significantly and looks a lot stronger than I would have anticipated. Um, yeah, this is really odd and interesting. So go ahead and mark this on your chart. We got about 408.88, and then we got 408.39. We want to make sure that we have this zone marked because I think this is going to be our pivot point here that we're going to focus on for the trading day tomorrow. I would like to see support bounces here. If we're holding up, then we're going to go calls. If we are going below this point, 408.39, then puts is definitely going to be the move. On these, Dimitri, it's a good question. So with what we're talking about here, right? So we're talking about a short-term scenario, which is more than likely if we see a support test and then we push up, we're going to probably test four, as we talked about last week. Then we're probably going to see 411 to 413, right? And so we're just going to want to trade to call it 411 because that's safer. So we're looking for that $2 move. We're going to make 30, 40, 50% depending on expiration, and we're going to get out of there and wait for the next trade. So I think that if we open weak and we come down and we're trading, like, look at this little range right here, right? Back on the 6th, trading below 409 down to about 408 and change. I think that if we get a weak open and we test support down here, I think that we're going to have a nice bullish play that will go into tomorrow. That is pretty much my best option, number one, on the bullish scenario. Number two, yeah, I could put the Discord link. If you're not in the Discord, I highly recommend signing up. If you like what you're hearing here, this is just a small snippet of what we do on a daily basis, along with live trade alerts, educational materials, a straight up education class with live staff teaching you and walking you through it. If you've never checked it out, I definitely would. You can go straight to the Discord. The link's at the bottom, or you can sign up here. You can get right in there and get it done. That's what I'd suggest. If you're serious about trading, that's your best opportunity to make some money, because we're going to teach you exactly how to do it. And while we're doing that, we're going to also be giving you the trades that look the best as of right now with analysis. You get the entry, you get the sell targets, and you get the risk analysis so that you know exactly what to do on your orders when you're trading. So I think that if we get that week open and we test support here, then we're going to come back up and test 411. If we break that point, then we very well could see a nice move up almost into the 420s, guys, which means that at that point on that breakout, if we're strong with decent volume, then I'd say looking a month out at like 420, 425 calls wouldn't be a bad move. But that is somewhat of a risky play. So keep in mind, we're going to go back to the daily here. We've had pretty significant movement to the upside. And if we go to the weekly, we see, in my opinion, an even better picture, because what we see on the weekly here is that we've really consolidated in this tight little range right here, and that the price has been basically pushing to upside in past weeks. If we look at this week over week, we had really strong volume off support, which gives us a pretty strong bullish sentiment, if that makes sense. Buyers were very convinced that this was a good deal when it hit this support right here, which tells you that larger buyers, who really rule the market, right? Institutional money rules the market. They decided that it was a good buy here to go long. So why would we argue with that? Why would we think anything different? They're the ones moving the money. They're the ones moving the market. What we do is we analyze what they do and we trade those trends and we make money. So I think, Jill, yeah, so this will be posted on the YouTube. And again, if you're not in the Discord, I would highly suggest that you get in there because you get this damn near every day, recorded, so you do it at your own pace. All the options trading education, stock trading education, crypto, everything you'd want is there. The board, I would say that scenario one, what we're looking at here, board is helping me timestamp these videos. That's why he's asking. Just FYI, I appreciate you, my friend. Scenario number one is that we get a pretty strong open. Let's actually, you know what? Let's see the 4 hour. Let's look at that. That might be easier to kind of understand and read. So looking at the 4 hour here, either we open neutral and we push up and then we come down midday, which we'll talk about in a minute. I would say bullish scenario number one is that we see a little bit of a weak open. We come down and test support, call it 409 down to 408, what is that, 408.30, 408.40. I think we come down to that support, at which point I really do like, if we're down at about 408.40, I do like the 411 call. I would trade no less than 2 weeks expiration. I would ideally go a month out just to be safe. You can hedge that by selling the 412 call and trade a spread. If you don't know how to do that, once again, follow the link and that's scrolling across the bottom. We'll teach you how to trade spreads and more advanced option strategies. But I like that as my bullish scenario. Buying between 408.80 and 408. We got a 50-cent spread there to add our calls, trading, looking for a target of 411. You want something that you can easily swing through tomorrow, because remember, if we break through right here and we keep moving up, we could see 415, 416, which means that your contracts are going to be up very substantially. You're going to want to hold on to those to make some even more money. You're not going to want to have to sell right away. But realistically, I think we go to 412 and then we hit resistance there for a little bit. And then we're either going to see the breakout or we're going to see the dump. So bullish scenario number one is seeing that support bounce. Ideally at open, I would like to see it open red in pre-market, come down to this price point, add those 411 calls here. Our stop is right below that 408.30. If it goes below that, then it's not a good day, and we want to be very careful. For those of you that want to take more risk, I'd say no lower than like 407.30. Those calls will trade up as we push into 411, 412, at which point you definitely want to take profit because you made some money. Our other scenario, which I believe to be a bearish scenario, would be we open very strong in pre-market. We're going to draw this out so you guys can follow. We open very strong in pre-market and we hit this resistance, and then we sell off through the end of the day. That is also, in my opinion, just as likely to occur. We want to be prepared for both, because we always have a 50-50 shot of what's going to happen. If we're prepared for both, we're always going to make money. That's the point here. As long as you have a plan for bear and bull, you will always make money. It doesn't matter which way it goes. That's why we do it the way we do it. And if you stay here and you trade with us and you stick around and learn, you will always make money in the market. It doesn't matter if it's long, short, bull, bear, irrelevant. We're going to make money because we employ trading strategies that work time and time again. Demetrius, do you prefer in the money or out of the money? I would not buy in the money options, especially on the SPY, especially for what we're trying to do here. And asking that question, I'm going to tell you, my friend, click that link up there. You definitely want to, you're ready. So just do it. Just commit to yourself. Get in there. Sign up for a year, commit to the trading education, go through it, because they're going to walk you through all of that so you don't make any mistakes. Trading options, at the very least, you're going to know exactly what mistakes not to make. You get to learn from our hard-won experience and definitely our losses. But in order to go through that question, I would definitely get in there, my friend, because that's where you're going to, here's the deal. If any one of you are trading with anything more than a couple grand, like if you're trading even with a couple grand, invest in yourself. If it's not here, whatever, find a course like what we offer that's quality, that will teach you the ins and outs. Invest in yourself. Take that 10% every week. If you even have $1,000 account and you're making 10% a week and you're taking home $100, take a second and think about that. Boom, that's gas for the entire month. It's pretty much your phone bill. You just eliminated a bill from your life for a couple hours of your time. And what's more important is those hours you've invested in yourself and your time and learning this stuff, it doesn't end there. You just continue to stack and compound that experience until you're trading with a $10,000 account. You want to know the cool part about that? Then when you take 10%, you're taking home $1,000 a week. And if you start to really sit down and do the math and figure this out, when you get to 100 grand, and if you're taking down even 1%, you're taking down $1,000. If you're taking 10%, you're taking home 10 grand. So take a second. Think about that. What is your time truly worth? Yeah, you might only have a couple $100 now and your return might only be 50, 60, $100. But what happens in 2 years when you have enough money that you're trading with 10 grand? Think about that. Be smart about that. Realize what you're capable of and invest in yourself. Everybody's digging around. I don't want to spend any money on anything. I don't want to do anything, or it's not worth it because I only have this much. Bullshit. You're not worth it. That's the truth. You don't believe that you're worth it. You're not going to invest in yourself. If you think when I thought I sucked, I did the opposite of invest in myself. I destroyed my life. Why? Because I thought I sucked. I didn't like myself. I didn't want to succeed. I was terrified of success. I never thought I would have anything to my name, never thought I'd be married or have a family or any of those things. It is a mindset, as much as I hate that word and what has become of like mindset and all that blah, blah, blah. But the truth is, with trading, you don't realize that even if you're trading with $100, if you can teach yourself how to make 10% a week on that $100 investment, just wait until you have $1,000 in that account, 10 grand in that account. Use your brain. There's skills that you learn, and the capital you have to deploy is just the powder and the gun, right? But you have to learn how to shoot the gun first. That's the point here. Is that if you can't execute these trades effectively, it doesn't matter if you have 1,000 or 1,000,000. It's not going to work. But if you can execute these trades correctly, if you do follow the trading education and actually do the work, you will be much like my friend Evan. Started with $400. I watched him turn that into 7 grand twice in less than 3 months. Why? Or how, I should say, because I told him, you're not allowed to take a real trade for the first 60 days. You are going to go through PBU. You're going to take a paper trading account, and you are going to execute every trade through there. You're going to send me your weekly P&L when you have 4 consecutive weeks of green weeks overall. Like one day could be red, but as long as the week is green, then you can start trading with real money. So he learned the skill before he even spent $1 of his own money in the market, before he invested a single cent that could yield a return. He learned all the skills. It's a beautiful thing, because guess what? The second he plugged his money in, which was only $400, mind you, he turned it into 7 grand. And then he took it back down to $500 because he had a kid. He had to need some cash. And then he did it again, except this time I think he was at like 8 or 9 grand. So how is that guy able to do this with a 30-minute lunch break that he takes right when he gets to work? He takes his lunch break. How is he able to do that? He had 0 experience coming in, none, because he listened. The same speech I'm giving you, I gave to him, except he followed every single word of it. So if you're sitting there like, dude, I just can't make money doing this and I really want to, then you need to look in the mirror and decide whether or not you're going to listen to what I just said, because I've watched it work in myself and him and a million other people. And you're telling me it won't. Interesting. That's what matters. So if you're afraid to invest in yourself, then don't. Why are you here then? It's pointless. But if you have even a modicum of belief that you can do this, dude, bet on yourself. Put it on a credit card. Do what you got to do. Get the education first, because you need the skills to be perfected. That's what matters. How much money you have is irrelevant. Money is easy. Money is a game. You can create money out of thin air now with the internet. Everybody's going to make money. It comes and goes. But what you do with it is what matters. So in looking at this is our bearish scenario number 2. I think if we open strong, or not open strong, excuse me, if we go strong in pre-market and at open we push a little bit and we hit resistance, that's going to be a great opportunity to take some 408 puts, or I would say 409 puts to be safer. To me, this would be an intraday trade. I would be shooting for 2 weeks out expiration. I'd buy the puts there with a very hard stop, and I call it 412, because if this hits resistance, comes down, and then rips up, it's going to keep going. So you need to be very mindful of that. So in this scenario, the bearish scenario, if you're going to play puts, be very mindful of the fact that if it hits above and it stays above 412, it's probably going to rip, and those puts are going to get destroyed. So cut the position. If it pays off, it's going to pay you handsomely. So those are 2 scenarios that I like the most. We get and I'll just quickly summarize them so you guys got it. This is our bullish scenario that I would like to see tomorrow. I would like to see kind of a weak open, possibly red. We come down, boom. This would be our buy point. This is when we want to be loading up on those calls, as it's trading down here off support. And then I think it's going to come up, pick up midday, and then push into close with strong to the upside. In this scenario, I'd be looking at probably the 411 or 412 call, give it at least 3 or 4 weeks so that we can swing it if we continue through tomorrow to move up. The bearish scenario, I think we open very strong. If this is going to occur, we open strong, we push up, we think it's going to be a breakout, and then this would be where we're loading in those puts, right? If we don't just immediately break out, okay? This means that we look like we're hitting some resistance here, and we're not sure about direction, at which point then I would say that 409 put would play very well from here. as long as it comes down and trades for the rest of the day. If we push up like this and you see like 412, you need to jump in the lifeboat as fast as possible. It is essential that we trade these with a tight stop loss if they're intraday trades. And once again, on the bullish position, I would say at least a month out because we want to be able to swing it. On a bearish position, I would say that I'd be looking short term here because we're tilted more to the upside than we are to the downside. So those would be the two plays on the SPY tomorrow. I hope you wrote them down. I hope you mapped them out because we gave you the secret sauce and the scenarios that you needed to know to make this make money. Before we continue into my next trade, big tech trade, big earnings trade that I think is going to be fantastic, do you have any questions? Does anybody have any questions? Type them in the chat. Type them in the chat. Type them in the chat. Come on now. Graphic Colors, what's up, man? Type them in the chat. Any questions? Hello, Catherine. Any questions? Come on now. I'm waiting for you guys. Come on, this is your opportunity. You guys always have questions. You DM me at midnight. Like, let's ask them now while I'm sitting here. Hey. Welcome, Catherine. How are you? Anybody have any questions about the SPY scenarios? We gave our bull scenario. We gave our bear scenario. If you don't have questions, just say no questions, man. Yes, you can DM me at midnight. I actually don't mind because usually I'm laying in bed and just kind of dicking around, so I don't mind it. I like having a little chat. It's 4-4. Ooh, Catherine's coming in hot with the questions. Catherine, you always do this. No, I'm just kidding. That is a good question, though. It's 414 in the levels for tomorrow. Is it possible? Absolutely. So if you take a look here, we had 412, and then I would say we pushed, I would say 415 more so. For me personally, 415, we got that little double top forming here. I think that's like really the key resistance to beat before we try to even approach 420 or so. That's why we're only trading as high as about, I would say 411, 412. That's a safe bet. If you miss a scenario, basically on a bullish situation, also, this will be reposted later where you'll be able to scroll through it and go through it. I don't want to make everybody go through it again, but as soon as it's posted after, and I'll get in there and timestamp it, but I would say go to like 35 minutes and you'll see the whole breakdown, Catherine, of this scenario. As soon as this live ends, it'll be posted on there and you'll be able to rewind and go to about 35 minutes. Or Board can give you the timestamp. Board, give them what's the timestamp? When do we start that? Like the last time, the summary. There you go. 33:30. Bada bing, bada boom. All right. How y'all living? Is everybody living good? Did you have a good, for those of you that celebrate the Easter, did you have a good Easter? Did you see some family? Did you collect some eggs? Do you have children? Did the children enjoy the eggs? Did the Easter bunny come? Did he leave a basket? What a terrifying concept. This bunny just burgles your home, just leaves a bunch of eggs around. I don't get it. It terrifies me. Hey, Catherine, you're great. Thank you. What support? God, you guys are fantastic. So I'll take it that's no questions. Okay. No questions. The silent types, the silent bunch, the silent generation. They pre-existed the boomers. I just found out my father-in-law was silent generation. We had a interesting talk on Easter about a number of things. James, what's up, man? Thank you, James. Thank you, James. What's that picture? Is that a frog? I can't even tell what that is, man. Oh, it's something odd. It looks like a bird, maybe. Is that a bird? You a bird guy? Bird guy? I like a good bird. I had a blue jay in my backyard one time. It was pretty cool. So I realize I get really hyped the first half, and then the second half I just kind of chill out. It's an interesting idea. Let's do Tesla because there is something brewing that I am very interested in. We are looking at the 4-hour chart here. You tell me what you see because I see buyers stacking up. And I think that they really, really liked what they got at 175. I would call that oversold if you ask me. We're going to go to the daily. Better yet, let's go to the weekly. So for those of you that went long on Tesla in January when we identified I'm not going to lie, it's some of my best work. We talked about this range is still on my chart when we did it. We talked about this range right here with a low of 106.51. That was the load up point. We touched as low as 101, but that was the buy. You got 100% return in a matter of like 4 weeks. Absolutely nailed it. I'm going to zoom the chart in so you can see it. We talked about this right here. We identified this range and we set, look at these lines are still on my chart. And these were our price targets as we went up. We bought at 105. We traded it up. 150 was second target. We talked about potential for 200, but we were safe. We took it at 150. Bada bing, bada boom, made a killing. I still have the equity, long equity in my portfolio, but we need to identify a new price point. Tesla earnings are coming, and I think Tesla could rip. We had a ton of buying right here, like the most we've ever seen in a concentrated week over week over week. If we look at 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks of consistently strong volume below 150, that's insane. So what does that tell us? There is demand there. What did we see in recent weeks? Well, we've got these RSIs playing around right here, okay? This 9-day is still above the 14-day. Good sign. And it's trading below 50, not a good sign. If we go to the daily, fell down below the moving averages, looks like they're crossing over, got rejected at the 200-day. Not a good sign. Tesla could be very, very interesting for a number of reasons. There are, in my opinion, how do you find so many layers to set up support and resistance? Steph, if you are not in PBU, I definitely would get in. I put that link in there. If I'll drop it again, but that is a phenomenal question, and that's exactly the kind of question you'd get answered, and you'll be taught how to chart like a champion and understand exactly why, exactly how we're doing what we're doing, because it's just simple price action techniques. We always want to trade the trend, but you get so used to looking at this stuff that it becomes quite easy to just nail it. So I would definitely do that. But to answer your question, I'm really just trying to find past ranges that we can validate and determine, like, okay, we can identify this as demand, we can identify this as support. This is where buyers are stepping in, this is where sellers are stepping in, so that we know basically what the overall markets are trading, so that we can jump in and capture those little segments. So if we know that there's a huge demand zone in Tesla at below one, like we did, right? So again, you probably weren't here, but we analyzed this Tesla trade back in January. Okay, we talked about buying at $100, 105, give or take, because it was the bottom of this previous range right here, where buyers stepped in force before we carried to our highs of 400 plus. Buyers loved it here. If we see even an inkling that buyers are going to love it again here, that is the absolute scoop the bottom best trade of the month. And we nailed it. We bought Tesla at 105. It traded to 210, 220. So literally it doubled our money in just a few months. Absolutely phenomenal trade. And now that we bumped right against resistance, closed that position, came to some downside, found support. Buyers are starting to step back in again. Look at this volume. This is the daily chart. Today had pretty significant volume, significant enough that I was paying attention. Not quite over average volume, but average volume has been substantially higher, as you can see, in the last 3 months than it has since December of 2020. Let that sink in. Volume has been stronger than it's ever been aside from COVID. And buyers are showing up. Tell me that doesn't make you want to just ring the bullhorn for Elon. Tell me it doesn't. Tell me it doesn't. Tell me. You can't, because it does. As much as it's sitting below this 200-day EMA and this price action is looking bearish here, I'm not buying. I'm not buying it. I don't believe it. It doesn't make sense. I'm not saying we're arguing with the trend. I'm not saying that we're going to go against our better judgment. What I am saying is that we are getting the beginnings of what I think will be a very interesting setup for a long-term Tesla position aiming at 300 plus. Here's what we're going to do. I just want to watch. I know Amy will be trading this in the short term, but for right here, right now, I'm just an observer. I'm just going to watch, because Tesla either pushes back up off this 200-day EMA, and then we have some bearish options to the downside if it doesn't go over, or Tesla pushes up with strength, right, as we're approaching earnings. Let's take a quick look and figure out when exactly earnings are for Teslonius Jackson. Where are earnings? When are earnings? When are earnings? April 19th. Earnings could be phenomenal. And what I like even more is that institutions now own 92% of Tesla. So that's a good sign, because they want to make money. So looking at this chart here, I'm going to say that I'm an observer for right now. I want to see this hold right here, call it 180. So let's say above 180. You know what? Actually, we could take a trade now. I'll map that out too. So if you want to take it, go ahead and take it. But I think 180 is the cut point for this. If we stay above 180, then we have tons of bullish options. At which point we break 210 and hold above. That is when I am looking to take a larger, longer-term position a year out. This will be an expensive contract. We'll open it as a spread. I will be posting this alert in Discord. If you're not in the premium alerts section, make sure you are in there so that you can have access to this play and make some money, because it's going to be a stupid money play, similar to the NVIDIA trade that made us 400 to 700%, depending on your entry. Netflix, over 80%. You guys know I love the long-term options. You know I love seeing that slap it on the table, slap you in the face, 800% return kind of play. I don't know why. I just got a thing for it, and I love it. So that's what I'm looking for here, is to put together an absolute banger. My goal is within 10 trades to basically take, I got my portfolio back down. I think I restarted at like, I took some out. What did I take? I think I was at like 47,000. It's at 53,000 now with just NVIDIA and Netflix, right? My goal is to get that portfolio by the end of the year to 100K, and I would love to do it with less than 10 trades. That's the ideal. That's the mission here. That's the mission I'm on. That's my goal. My portfolio is at about 53,000 right now in Robinhood. I want that to become 100,000 by the end of the year, but I want to do it in 10 to 15 trades, right? So we've already used up 3 with NVIDIA, Netflix, and then Palantir. So we've got 3 down, ideally 7 to go. I'll go as high as 15. But basically in 15 trades, I want to be able to double my money. And I think I'm going to do it. And once I do it, I'm going to map it out. And well, we are mapping it out. So if you're here, you're smart, because I'm trying to basically turn this into a template so that we could just roll out this plan as product and people can buy it if they want to buy it. Not, you guys get it for free for being loyal, loving customers, because I love you to death. So you're watching it unfold right in front of your eyes. Who would have thought? So basically, I want to take that portfolio from 50K to 100K in less than a year, and ideally under 10 trades, call it 10 to 15 as a range. Tesla is going to be one of those trades, and I expect it to do a lot of work in my portfolio. I really am putting a lot on Elon here. So what we're looking at right now is a make or break point 180. Below 180, cut it loose, let it go, wait for a better entry. It's probably going to come down to 160. So don't mess around. Don't hold too much risk. Don't be a dummy. I think we take a short-term trade, 2 months out, 3 months out, aiming at about 205. That trade will probably hit if we can hold above 180. Why I like it? Because we're getting our stop point right out of the way. We know exactly when we're cutting the trade loose. We know exactly how much risk we're taking. Call it 177. So like I would stop at like 175, right? So if you're buying shares, you're losing $10 a share, which is about 4 or 5%. If it hits, you're gonna make about 10%. So it's 2 to 1. That's a good ratio. But on option scale, I would cut it. I would try to buy it about 180, 181, and cut it below probably 179, just so you're not taking too much risk. I'll be looking at the 205. Call it the 200 call. Be safe. 205 is okay. 205. Give it at least 2 months. Tesla can beat you to death if you're trading like weeklies or intraday stuff. Just be very careful. My big position, though, I want to see us hold here, right? We consolidate a little bit, we test, we come down, and then boom, we test that resistance right there. When we break above and consolidate above this point, right? So we're like above 210, that's when I'm going to load up on a long-term leap position so that we can catch this ride up to $300 because it's going to happen if we continue at this pace. Absolutely. At the very least, we'll get about 260 out of it, which means it'll be a substantial play. Hopefully a couple 100% return. That's what I'm looking for, is that big money, baby. I want this thing to do some work. I'm very, very interested in the play. I think it has a ton of opportunity sitting in front of us. That's the scenario. You heard it here first. The same guy who nailed it at $100 is going to nail it for you here. At least that's my goal. Make some money for everybody. And moving on. That's Tesla. That one's right at our range. This is an easy, for those of you that like trading small caps, you're newer to trading, you just want to trade stocks. This is a very fun one to trade at substantial volume. CCO is the ticker. I think this one's got a very interesting setup. We've traded this one a million times. If you look right here, it always bounces right at about $1, and then it trades up to $2. So it literally doubles time and time again. It did it here, almost doubled again here, came back down, pushed back up another 30 cents, then came back down to $1, and then boom, pushed to 213, doubled your money again. So basically, from June of last year to now, 2 separate occasions, you could have doubled your money on the exact same trade. What a treat. So looking at the chart here, we had strong buyers step in above the moving average. We look at about 150, I would say would be my target. 140 if you're being safe. There's an easy 30% trade here. Trade it smart, trade it safe. You want to have a very firm stop here. Buying at about 105 is your best bet, because then you can have a cutoff point at $1. It's a little above that right now, so trade the breakout. If we push up to about 120, I'd say you could probably get 150 out of this. It likes to move fast. It is a low float. There's your low float stock pick. Quick update on a couple of plays. We got BABA rolling here. We've been buying this since about $80. Bada bing, bada boom. We came as high as 105, which is a phenomenal play. We absolutely nailed it. Cheers to you all. We are trading against resistance right here. This is our long-term resistance, guys. The second we break above this, that's why I'm holding this for more, we're going to easily see 120. Here's the potential for upside, 169. That's what I want to see on that equity position. All those updates will be posted in Discord. Again, if you're not in there, make sure you get in there, because we have been mapping this play out. It's been an absolute moneymaker. I absolutely miss trading with you guys, and I love that we're crushing it. So Palantir came down a little bit. That was a buy opportunity. Now it's pushing back up. Had a pretty green day today on pretty substantial volume. The make or break point here, guys, is right here. Call it $9 and then $10.30. When we get above 9, we're going to aim for 10.30. We could take a little more profit off. And then once we get above 10.30, that's when we're going to hopefully see our move to $21. This is our liquidity zone that is going to move through quickly. And this should be a phenomenal trade that makes us a good bit of money. And last but not least, PayPal. We've been trading this. Look at that consolidation here. You can't ask for more. You just can't. It's up or down right now. Is tech going to carry the rest of the market? We will see. We added PayPal at $69. It traded up to about $89. It was a phenomenal trade. For those of you that are still holding some equity, which I am, we've been trading at about 72 to $74. If you want to continue to load, feel free. I'm liking this consolidation zone we have right here to about $75. And I like even more so that we're consolidating so tightly here. I would love to see a move up to 87 again. We need to break above that. Once we do, we have an easy trade, long-term hold, in my opinion, back up to $200. We have like 3 or 4 double your money plays here with a very tight stop loss in mind, which means we're risking like 10% to make 100%. Take a second with that. Where else are you trading where you get that kind of risk reward? These opportunities are unbelievable. And I hope you guys are following them and making some money. Dun, 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 dun. And you know what? That's pretty much all I wanted to cover. Got a firm. This last one. A firm. Look at this right here. It's trading against that long. We've been talking about this one for months. Long-term resistance here. Breaks up. It's got an easy move for another double your money. Honest to God. I think it's another opportunity, potential double your money, tight stop loss. If it doesn't hold, then the breakout's not going to continue. You got to see that continuation. A lot of good trades here, guys. A lot of good opportunities. We even have Bitcoin absolutely ripping, just climbing 30K plus. What I would say, if you're not in it now, I mean, I've been loading at 20. I loaded at 21K. I bought some at 23K. And then I did not buy above 27 because I felt like, it's like I don't want to buy that high. You know what I'm saying? Bitcoin pushing. We could see another opportunity here. I mean, 32, 33K is definitely incoming. This thing is, in my opinion, on a tear. Above 37K, and we're definitely going to see 50K again. So that's like your quick snapshot of Bitcoin. Keep a close eye on that. I just want you guys to make money. Again, we're here every Sunday at same time, 7 p.m. Make sure you hit that notification bell so that you can get access to this stream and you're notified. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. Make sure you do so that you get notified every time we go live. I am trying to spoon feed you guys these trades so you can make a stupid amount of money. And then if I go into a nursing home, you can help pay for that. That would be really cool. But yeah, I love y'all. Stay blessed now.